Hi, Shannon with Sizzlen Stampers again. We are doing another project with Dress to Impress, which I love with Stamp Set if you haven't figured that out. This card uses two stamps, the perfume bottle and the Happy Mother's Day. So, and it's a softer, if you've seen any of my other videos or you've done the projects from the Spring Retreat, we so far done a lot of bright colors with the stamp set, and this particular card takes it down a softer notch. So this is going to be the final card that we're doing. This is what it looks like, and I'm not sure if that's going to show in the video or not, but it is pretty shimmery because we're using the white shimmer cardstock. All right, along with the light petal pink cardstock. So in your kit, you are going to be looking for this piece of paper, the soft but floral. It's got soft and a little bit of bright still. The back side of it is the lovely lipstick with the different makeup tools, if you're wondering which floral, to make sure you have the right floral. So you will need to cut a strip from that paper, and it is going to be a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. So you can see that 5 1/4 by 1/2 inch. So it's skinny, a little skinny guy. So for this card, let me go ahead and move the stamp set out of my way. I am using these three colors in the ink. It's the Smoky Slate, Blushing Bride, and the Petal Pink. So as we go forward, those are the three ink pads that you would use. If you don't have these ink pads, you could substitute and use the black instead of the Smoky Slate or another gray. If you don't have the pinks, you could do a different pink or lavender. You could also use your blends and just color this in instead of using the stamp. We are going to, I forgot that, we are using the one watercolor looking splash. So in your kit, you now have the Petal Pink cardstock that's cut in half, one sheet cut in half wide like hamburger style. You're folding that in half. You have a 1/4 sheet of the shimmer white, which is standard at 4 inches by 5 1/4. Remember, I try to remind people and teach them that I tend to make my cuts a 1/4 inch smaller on each layer so that you get about 1/8 inch layering around the edges. Then you have the next piece of Petal Pink. That is 3/4 inch wide, and it is 3 1/4 inch long. And you have a little bitty, and we will be trimming that down. I gave you a bigger piece so it's easier for you to manipulate. And then you have a little skinny guy that's about 2 inches, and he's not quite 1/2 inch. So those are the pieces in your kit that you come with, and then you need to cut your floral guy down. All right, so to begin, we're going to do our stamping. I'm going to set that off. And we are going to do the perfume bottle first. And when you're looking at it, I know that I'm going to layer my little floral strip down there. So if it helps you to visually see where to stamp, lay him on there. I would not recommend gluing him at this point because you never know. You know, that's the one thing I say about stamping, though. There's no mistakes. You can fix it. So if I stamped it wrong, I could flip it over. So I'm going to ink up the perfume bottle, which slid a little bit on me. And I'm going to put it kind of down here low. This is a card that has a lot of negative space. You want to see that sparkle and shimmer on it, though. And when you are seeing this in person up close, you'll be able to see that a lot better than on the camera. I'm going to set that aside for a moment. I'm going to use my same Smoke Slate to stamp the saying Happy Mother's Day on that little strip of shimmery white. And you have to really look at that and line that up. If you don't want it to say Happy Mother's Day, it can say anything else that you want that fits on there. Okay, Did you see I messed up that first one? I didn't quite push down hard enough on the top of Happy, so I just flip it over and we're good to go. All right, now is a little bit of the tricky part. So I'm using that watercolor stamp. I'm going to open up both my Blushing Bride and my Petal Pink. And before I stamp it on the card, I'm going to show you the differences on this. Let me grab a scrap of white over here so you can kind of see. So this is my Petal Pink with no off stamping, okay? This is my Blushing Bride with no off stamping, which is how I did my original card. However, I think I will like it better once time stamped off, okay? Again, if you don't have this, you can use your blender pens to scribble across. You can use the glycerin blender, the blender pen that's the glycerin base, and use it with an ink if you don't have this particular stamp. You should if you've got the kit. Getting out of line. So now I'm going to take my perfume bottle, and I did the dark on the bottom, so I'm going to stamp my light first. And it doesn't matter which direction you choose to have it, it's just in there randomly. Okay, so I stamped the whole bottle with the Petal Pink. Now I'm going to stamp off with my Blushing Bride, and then I'm going to take this scrap paper and cover part of my perfume bottle. I just want the darker color on the lower half, so I'm going to go over it just like so. Now, so that wasn't quite as dark as I thought I would like it, so I'm going to try to stamp off not quite as heavily and come back in and do it one more time, and we'll see if I get a little bit more shading in there. So I just like a little lighter shading than on my original card. So that's all there is to that piece. Now we're to assembly already. I know, you can't even believe it. Simple, easy card, and it's great for any of the women in your life, and it can be done however you want it. So I am going to do the Happy Mother's Day flat adhesive onto the other Petal Pink cardstock. Now I gave you a lot because I didn't want you to freak out on trying to layer that and get it nicely even on a tiny scale. So you have plenty. And then I just go back in, and remember, when I do straight cuts, I have to have these big scissors. They just work better for me. I love our paper snips for all the tiny cuts and intricate things and fussy cutting because they're curved blades. But when I need a straight edge, I like these big scissors better. All right, now I'm going to use my Snell. You can use your Tombow, whatever. And I'm just putting that little floral right along the very edge of that shimmer cardstock. And I'm going to layer that right on top of my Petal Pink cardstock. And I'm just looking in, trying to get even edges, close to even all the way around. Smash it down. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I am going to use, of course, the dimensionals. I almost always use dimensionals on a card somehow, somewhere. I didn't used to do a lot of flat layering, but now I'm kind of addicted to having the raised. And now I'm just going to kind of layer that wherever I want onto my card. And I want to bring that over. So remember when I'm teaching, I do lots of triangles, odd numbers, that sort of thing. So if you can see and follow the pencil, here's one line, here's one line, and it's going up because all of this is the negative space. But that's super good when you're using the sparkly shimmery paper. And because I want just a little bit more bling, I'm going to go ahead and add a tiny little rhinestone to that edge of my saying right there. And because I have them, that rhinestone didn't get I didn't get him picked up with his adhesive. I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple others. because, you know, for Mother's Day, I would think lots of sparkles. So I added the rhinestones. So you can tell me which card you like better. Super simple, no rhinestones. Stepped up one time, add the 3 rhinestones. Remember, if you were at the spring retreat or ordered that spring retreat kit to go, you have a pack of those rhinestones in your kit. So there is the final card. I hope you like that Mother's Day card. It's nice and soft and subtle.